Hello everyone, it's me, Maya, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my Book-Tube-A-Thon wrap-up and my August TBR, well, the rest of August TBR. During Book-Tube-A-Thon, I read 3 books, count them 3. I actually reached my goal for Book-Tube-A-Thon. This is the part where if I had great editing skills, I would insert applause, but you're going to have to use your imagination. The first book I read was Women Wartime Spies by Kramer. This book, let me give you the bad news first. It was a little difficult to read because it's not a novel. This is a nonfiction work, so it's very dense with facts and names. So it made it a little bit difficult to read. And the other part is I am probably a English grammar snob because I was an English major in college. So I pay a lot of attention to how someone formats their sentences and if there's any mistakes. So that made it a little hard to follow along. But other than that, it was a good book. Now we can get to the good news. It was so powerful to see that the role that women played in wartime and how they were as strong, if not stronger, than most of their male counterparts. I loved that we were able to see how the human side of espionage and the people that played a part in the spying world in wartime areas, and then talk about the relationships they may have formed, the connections, and maybe probably the hardest part to read is some of the abuse that they had to endure, which I wasn't expecting her to go in so much detail, but that was a part of what they had to deal with. I wouldn't call that a bad news portion because it's real life. I couldn't really expect them to talk about espionage and spying in wartime, First and Second World War, and not expect them to talk about what happened when some of these spies got captured and what happened to those that never came home. So that was a little hard to stomach. But overall, I'm glad I read it. I don't think I would have read it if it weren't for this week, so that was very cool. The second book is The second book is a substitution. It's As You Like It by William Shakespeare, illustrated by Chie Kutsuwada. It's a manga version of one of my favorite Shakespearean plays, As You Like It. Now, if you don't know the story of As You Like It, it's a story of this girl named Rosalind, whose father has been banished by his younger brother. And it's a pretty complicated story to describe in a minute or less, but just know there's quarreling, there's cross-dressing, there's romance, and it's probably one of my favorite. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but it is one of my favorite plays. The last book I read was Princess Nevermore by Dian Curtis Regan. I finished this book Sunday night, 10 p.m. and I was so excited. It's like, I got all of them done. I'm so happy. This book is about Princess Quinella, who lives in an inner earth where magical creatures still exist. And all of the creatures went underground when there were evil people trying to take over their powers. And she always dreams of going into the outer earth, which she can see through a wishing pool. And one day, thanks to one of her friends who is a magician's apprentice, or wizard's apprentice, she's able to go into the outer earth. But she doesn't realize that it's one of those things that it's better from afar. So it's her journey of learning about the outer earth, learning about herself, and kind of seeing and appreciating all that she had. I read 3 books. I am so very proud of myself. I reached my goal. I hope next year I'll be able to read a lot more. I think I wasn't used to trying to read marathon style. And I got a lot more reading done in a week than I've ever gotten in any week in my entire life, so that was good. I don't think I really like reading that quickly though. So I think trying to stick to maybe a book a week or a book or two a week would probably do better for me. But I still think I want to try to do Book-Tube-A-Thon next year, and I will be ready next year. So I read 3 books this year. Next year, 4 or 5. Let's shoot for 5. Let's shoot for 5 again. Now for my August TBR. These are the books I would like to read before the end of August. Most of these are crossover from my Book-Tube-A-Thon TBR, and there's only 2 books that I haven't mentioned before. So try to get through these. The first book is Sisters by Danielle Steele. I've already mentioned it. It's about sisters. And I want to read another Danielle Steele book, so this is the one I'd like to read. And this was from my Book-Tube-A-Thon TBR. Another book was The Hollow Kingdom by Clare Dunkle. I'd love to read this. And I think I really want to read the books that I put in for my Book-Tube-A-Thon TBR, just so I can feel accomplished. The third book is Blue Notes by Carrie Lofty. I don't know if I explained in depth what this book is about. It's about a girl who is this trained, I don't know, she's a piano prodigy, and she doesn't really play often, or she doesn't play in public. And she meets this guy, of course, that sort of takes her out of her shell. I think that's what it's about. From the background, that's what it's about. But I'm kind of interested in a little cutesy romance, so that will be cool. The fourth book that I would like to read this month is The Last of the Really Great Whangdoodles by Julie Andrews Edwards. And I hope that name sounds familiar. If you don't know who that is, I just can't talk to you right now. I read this book when I was younger. Just much like I read Princess Nevermore when I was younger. And so I really wanted to read it again. And that's why it's on my list. I don't remember it at all, which is cool. I think the only problem is that I worry that reading it over will take away some of the magic it had when I was younger. Because when I read Princess Nevermore again, I can understand why I liked it, but it didn't hold as much weight. So it's just it was not really disappointing, but it was just I think I would have liked to have loved that a lot more, but I don't know. It's like reading something when you're 10 versus when you're almost 23. Okay, the last book in my August TBR is Tempest by Julie Cross. I think I chose this book the most because of the cover. Look at this cover. It is so cool. This book is about this guy that is a time traveler. And some evil time people, I don't know, I think they're enemies of time. The actual group is called the Enemies of Time. And they come for him and his girlfriend ends up dying. And he ends up going back in time 2 years, and he can't come back. He can't try and travel anymore. And so he ends up meeting his girlfriend again, and the evil time people, I'm great at descriptions, guys, try to get him. So now he has to almost figure out how to come back, figure out what's been going on in his life, and what's the real source of his powers. So I'm this book sounds amazing. So I think that should be good. I'm really excited from this TBR. If I don't finish these, they're just going to roll over to September. And I like doing a TBR because it narrows my focus with the books I want to read. Because I think I still have maybe 20 or 30 books in my TBR right now. The whole TBR of what I own. And having a set TBR of like, these are the books I want to get to, it helps me narrow down my focus. So, hey, this booktube in general is doing wonders for my reading, and I'm so very excited. I hope that wasn't too drawn out, and I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Thank you for stopping by my channel. If you like this video, please, but only if you want to, please press that like button. If you would like to stay up to date on these videos, please press subscribe. It should be down there. And leave me a comment of what books you plan to read this month. See you later, guys. Bye!